A-T. It's in the name.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor with Ben and Travis podcast. On today's episode, we're going to do a round robin of questions and questions that you can ask yourself at home. And if you have a place to comment under this episode, feel free to share your answers. Or you can email us at hello@benandtravis.com with your answers. And so we'll get to those questions right after this important message. Hey friends, we've got something really special to share with you today, a brand new children's book that's all about faith, family, and finding joy in the middle of life's challenges. It's called The Adventures of Ben and Travis and the Joy Rider. This heartwarming story follows a big brother in a wheelchair who uses his creativity, courage, and a whole lot of love to help his little brother and cousin overcome life's obstacles. Together they show us that joy isn't about what you have, it's about how you choose to face the ups and downs of life. This book is full of fun, adventure, and hope. It's perfect for bedtime stories, Sunday school libraries, or as a meaningful gift for the kids in your life. Plus, it's a great way to start conversations with your family about resilience, compassion, and faith. Pre-orders are open now, and when you order early, you'll be one of the first to get your hands on this inspiring story. Just head over to benandtravis.com/books. That's benandtravis.com/books and pre-order your copy today. Give your kids a story that will make them smile, laugh, and believe in the power of joy. I'm Travis Creasy, the pulpit minister at Westgate Church of Christ in Dothan, Alabama. That over there is All-Pro counselor Ben Hayes. He's with Three Chord Counseling, Mars Hill Bible School, and of course also the pulpit minister at Highland Park Church of Christ. Ben, how's it going, brother?
It is good. We were just talking a little bit before we came on here that both of us sound like we had full days of ministry yesterday. Sundays are usually pretty busy, and that's a good thing. But stayed busy all day yesterday. Got a little reprieve from football, stress on Saturday because Alabama didn't play. So while the rest of the world, and especially the state of Alabama, one particular team was struggling with the way a game went, and probably had some reason to.
Yeah.
We kind of got to sit back and not have to worry about anything, so I kind of enjoyed it. But I was busy all day Saturday with kids' events and such. So
I'm sure we'll make up for it this weekend with a trip.
Sure, we will
to Athens, Georgia.
Our fair share. So
I've learned to love the bye weeks.
Yes.
When I was coaching, when I'm not coaching, I enjoy the bye weeks. But
that time of year when we let teenagers affect our mood by how games, because a lot of them are teenagers still. So.
Yeah, so we did, and maybe this is a ministry spotlight for the future, but we packed 10,000 meals for a mission there in Nicaragua that the Westgate Church
That's awesome.
supports after, of course, worship on Sunday morning, and then the Hayes sisters plus one Nadine, your mom, all showed up at the house last night and on their way to the beach, and so we had some great visitors and catching up. Sight for sore eyes down here in South Alabama. Some of them North Alabama family folks.
That's awesome.
And so we're going to go see them tomorrow when this podcast comes out. Hopefully we'll be down in the Orange Beach area.
Down there hanging out.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot Mom was on that trip. So
yeah.
I've actually got something to take to her today, but I guess she's not here. So I guess I'll have to do that another time. But
absolutely.
Well, good deal.
Well, Ben, we're going to let you kind of take over the ministry spotlight this week, and then we'll get to some of those questions we promised about.
Yeah, so one of my good friends and ministry partner really at Highland Park Church of Christ with Will and I is Mike Brooks. And Mike Brooks has been doing mission work overseas for many, many years. He works with Khulna Bible College in Khulna, Bangladesh. And Khulna Bible College has been training preachers for a long time. He also does some work in Nepal. And so he, for a long time, was going over there every 3 months. He would go and stay for 3 months, come home for 3 months, back and forth, just partly age and partly just some of the situation right now, he has sort of slowed that down some. And right now, not able to go over there, but the workers are still doing a lot of work. Both countries are having some difficulties at the moment, Bangladesh and Nepal. And so he does a lot to raise money for that mission. To help those preachers out in Nepal and Bangladesh. And so I know he would love to come talk to your congregation about that and share with you what's going on. I think since 1996, KBC has been training preachers and church leaders across Bangladesh. And so it's just a really great work. It's getting the gospel out to some very large population countries and even bleeds over into India some. They do some work in all those areas. So if you would like to learn more about that, you can go to highlandparkcoc.com and click on that missions tab, and it'll tell you a little bit more about the work. It'll give you a way to contact Mike, and he can come speak to your congregation, or he can give you a call, or whatever you'd like to do. But I know that he would love to tell you all about the good work that's going on over there.
Mike's such a good guy. We've talked about him here on the podcast a couple of times. Need to have him on. I know you've talked about his coffee, that it could get up and walk around, or you could
100%. He drinks some strong coffee for sure. So he's a great one, and I think his work has been really good, and he will continue to do that as long as he possibly can. So,
all right. So Ben sent some pictures of a game that he has recently opened that had some pretty good questions on them. Some of them will probably stay away from, just to not offend family members. But Ben, I'll let you be the judge of that. If you want to throw some of those out there, take your own life in your hands, then that's fine. I like this one here. And of course, outside, we're going to throw the Bible out there. Of course, it's shaped our worldview more than anything else.
Absolutely.
Even like maybe not straight from the Bible, but just culturally. I think it's hard to live in the United States, especially in the South, and not be influenced by the Bible in some way. I know that you probably want to throw out there Whitney and I's book, but don't do that, right? I know it has shaped you. And then, of course, The Adventures of Ben and Travis and the Worry Coaster, I'm sure, has been very influential. But outside of those parameters, Ben, what book shaped your view of the world?
The first one I remember that did that, there's been a lot that have helped me in ministry and in counseling and all that. I remember sort of being shaken and stirred to do, good things, great things. And it was before I ever became a dad. And it was one of those that stuck in my mind about, I can't wait to become a dad and do this. And it was Wild at Heart.
Yeah.
John Eldridge. And I think, for whatever reason, that one just really, I don't know. I was just so amazed by the things he did with his kids. And what's scary is I look back and I was like, I read that before I became a dad. And then now I look back and I missed so many good opportunities. But I also feel like I did more and squeezed more out of adventures with my kids because of that. And hopefully I still have some more adventures to go with them. But, trying to take those little bit of those risks, ride those roller coasters, or, go bow fishing with them, take them hunting, take them in the woods, go on hikes in Alaska, and, whatever those things are, but trying to soak the most out of it. So that's probably the one that impacted me the most that I can remember. How about you?
Oh man, that I really enjoyed reading, which, if you got in a time machine and went back in time and you told younger Travis that he would love to read, he would tell you what happened, what traumatic event happened to make you love to read. So, man, that is a difficult one. And you stole really one of the ones I was thinking about, because I think the same thing. It really kind of got me out of some of the not wrong thinking of ministry, but the appeal to men that I think is oftentimes difficult to overcome, because I think men have this view of church as sitting in a pew and being a good boy, and not having that adventurous side. And that really, although I get where that image comes from, it's not really accurate, and so we have to be careful. So yeah, Wild at Heart is definitely early on ministry, like world changing deal. I'm just going to throw out an author. I know that's cheating. We said books. But N.T. Wright is one of those guys that I've really just enjoyed. And he can get way over my head. So you got to be careful on what level you're looking for. But I do find enjoyment on pretty much anything that he's written. You
talk about him a lot. I probably need to do more reading of his, but that's pretty awesome.
And it's just one of those things. If I'm talking within the Church of Christ, and I know you've got a list of people that you could throw out there as well, but I think anything I've read from Lonnie, I know that's not shocking. But as great a speaker as Lonnie is, like, if you've not read some of his books, like, if you like Lonnie, if you have any affection for Lonnie at all, the books, the Grappling with Life, I forget the full title, but
Guarding Your Inside Space.
Yes, right? Yes. I mean, and it's a short one. You can read through it pretty quick, but it's just such a blessing and something we need today of, emotional intelligence, how to handle, things. Don't let so many of the outside circumstances seep into your inner conversation. So, those two guys, influential.
Yeah, all those things. And if you're just looking for a book list, I'll throw two more out. These aren't necessarily ones that were life changing, altering early on, but like parenting later on. And I share with them a lot how to talk to your kids will listen to your kids will talk, and The Whole Brain Child. And both of those are phenomenal and kind of help out in those areas. So go pick those up if you were just looking for some things to help you out. So I got this one for you, Travis. This is, and by the way, these are off a thing called Table Topics Do-It-Yourself Therapy. So it's just kind of conversation starters. I'm going to read this one or ask you this one, and I'm going to add something to it. The question says, to what degree does the daily news affect your mood? So I'm going to ask you that. And part 2 is not on the card. Part 2 is, how do you manage that, and how do you set parameters to maybe not let it do that? Go.
I am not a news watcher. I'm not going to watch Fox News. I'm not going to watch CNN. Outside of real clips I get, or things that people send me. I am on social media a lot, and so that's not me, being proudful that I avoid Fox News, because I get it on social media.
Probably the worst part of it.
Probably the worst, because you don't know what's real. Of course, people would say, depending on your side, CNN, Fox News, whatever. So it doesn't affect my mood a lot, and I actually thank politicians for that, because early on, when you get to vote, you think, oh, this person's going to solve all my problems, and then you realize they can't. I think what shocks me is older folks who still believe this one person's going to solve all their problems. I'm like, they could do some good. I think all of them can do some good, and they're going to make mistakes, and they're not going to keep some of their commitments. And so just going in and knowing that every person is a human being and they got things going on, and being able to connect with that as a person made in the image of God. And then I try to connect with, that's a dad, that's a husband, that's a wife, that's a mom. And they're generally humans. People are doing the best they know how. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That doesn't mean we leave them there. We help them. As far as like limiting, when I start to feel angry, because there's these things called algorithms, and anything you pause on,
Yep.
Anything you take a 3 second, as a person who checks social media and posts things a lot and wants to see how things go, even on Facebook, there's 3 second view. That's a whole thing to itself. Like, this took a 3 second view. This is how much of your content got a 3 second view. And we deal in the positives, Ben. And one of the hard parts about dealing in the positives is it's not clickbait.
Yeah.
And that works against us as far as the social media algorithm, because people hopefully they see Ben and Travis and go, oh, that's a positive thing. I know they're going to be positive. But, positivity doesn't sell all the time.
That's right.
Now, we're not going to change, because that's what we're here to do, is put positive things out there.
Right.
And so when I start to feel angry, and specifically about something that I know I can't fix, right? I'm going to post a scripture and probably vacate whatever platform I'm on,
Yeah.
I've joked in the past, the first time I see a bad religious take or theology take, I'm out,
Yeah.
Or if I see something that's going to taint my view of another human being that I know and love, it's time to go. So I don't want to be divided. Do I think there's right and wrong and evil and good? 100%. And one of the benefits of being a preacher is I get 25 to 30 minutes every Sunday to share, hopefully, what the Bible says first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then I try to be quiet, and I also try to pump the brakes. Like, nobody knows all the details. And there's a reason why you don't know all the details, because it's not your job to know all the details. And so, man, I just have, in the last 2 weeks, have really encouraged, let's pump the brakes. Let's give it 24 hours.
Yeah.
And even better, 48 if we can, before we determine
Absolutely
all the facts, And we live in a world that first is all that matters.
Yeah.
And the facts can come later.
Yeah, that's my biggest frustration with it all, is that sometimes people just immediately jump on there, judging, posting, ruining other people's lives if they're not careful. Where somebody gets, the first person to get arrested is not always the person who did it. Like, what we saw a couple of weeks ago. And I'm not saying they weren't involved. I don't know all the details, but you post that guy's face and now he's ruined for life. And he was, he's not the guy that did it and wasn't even, a part of it. I don't know, and there's been other things that those sorts of things happen, and it's real quick to do it. So I'm the same way. I try to turn it off when I start feeling those emotions rise, because nobody's going to get anything good out of, spewing and saying stuff. We say a lot other things that we wouldn't say in person online. The online disinhibition effect, I think is what they call it. And you just, you say what you wouldn't say normally. And so I think taking that time. Now, I could change that quote a little and ask, to what degree does, college football affect your mood?
Yeah.
And it might be a different answer, but maybe we shouldn't go there.
Well, both are hopefully better. I used to be the world's worst about both, and I hope I'm down the list a little bit now. I'm trying to put some space between the worst and me.
Yeah. And I think with everything, I like what you said. Somebody sent me a video of two politicians somewhere. I don't know who they are, but one from one side of the aisle and one from the other, and they did a commercial together. And they said, we have more in common than we have separate. We argue, about topics, and we argue about things, and we stand very different from each other, but we're both dads. And they were both bald. They said, we both have great haircuts, and they just kind of went back and forth in this video, standing next to each other. We both love college football, and they, fist bumped each other, and they were just like, or college basketball or something. But that, it was just showing there's a humanity. So, I think the same thing with college football and other stuff. These are kids playing, don't let it affect your mood, because they may let it affect their game. Whether a girl broke up with them last night or not. I mean, there's so many things that come into play there.
Is your church looking for meaningful ways to make a kingdom impact? Healing Hands International has been partnering with churches for more than 30 years to make real change possible. HHI is a faith-driven nonprofit that leads life-changing programs like Walk for Water, where communities come together to raise awareness and funds to drill wells around the world. But that is just the beginning. HHI works to aid, equip, and empower communities around the world, teaching families how to grow sustainable gardens or helping women launch small businesses to support their families. And the best part? All of these programs are done in partnership with local church leaders, empowering gospel opportunities. There are so many ways you and your church can get involved. You can host your own Walk for Water. You can pack gift boxes for kids through the Magi program or host a seed packing event. Learn more and get involved today at hhi.org. That's hhi.org. The Healing Hands International question of the day. Traditionally we like to end on a fun one, which these have all been good questions that we should answer and wrestle with. But when you hear the words scary movie, what pops into your head? So we're dealing with trauma here, is what we're dealing with.
I haven't watched a lot of scary movies.
At least for me, we'll be dealing in trauma. So get your counselor hat ready.
Well, you and I always joke. I think everything that ever comes across our page on Unsolved Mysteries gets thrown into each other because that theme song lives in our head, and it's not even a scary movie, but it was just one of those that gave us fear all night. On the nights that it came on TV. I haven't watched a lot of scary movies, so movies come to my mind, but most people would be like, "That's not even that scary of a movie." I'm probably more. I actually was a pretty big fan of The Walking Dead when it was on. I still don't think I finished it. Negan just really got on my nerves, and I sort of stopped watching it. But I kind of wanted to go back and finish it. Well, I don't even know if there's a finish to it. I think it's still going. But I haven't watched it in a while. I remember kind of one of the movies that was kind of terrifying or had some really creepy parts and stuff in it was one called 13 Ghosts. And it was like this guy had these ghosts locked in his basement or something, and they got out, or they were getting out, and something kind of crazy happened with it. So that's the one I remember, but I don't know that that's even that scary of a movie, and I don't know that you should go watch it.
No, you shouldn't.
It has been years since I watched that movie, and I'm pretty sure that there's some stuff.
Oh yeah, they're movie. Anytime we bring up movies, that is not a stamp of approval, and especially the horror genre. I'm with you. I'm not a scary movie person, and I would not suggest anybody go see a scary movie. Although there are people and there are ministers who cannot wait. Like Halloween is game on, and I'm not one of those people, which is probably why so many stand out to me when I was strong-armed into watching them. It was definitely one of those things where it's like I was the odd person out. Probably kid trauma, anything, and Ben, this, Unsolved Mysteries, aliens. Like, I'm just not going to watch anything with aliens back in the day. Of course, now our government's come out and go, yeah, there are these things. And I'm like, great, awesome. But aliens are no-go unless Predator's involved, which I don't even view that really as an alien movie because it's not like, I don't know how that gets by. But anyways, Jaws, anything moving under the water, anything sharp.
It's weird to say Jaws. It's not really horror, but it's like
I will watch them. I mean, I've watched them. Aliens, like I said, I just avoid that. And then probably personal trauma was it. And I'm not talking about the new one. I will not see the new one.
Yeah,
because the original scared me to no end. And
Yeah. And there's where, like, I've not ever watched it. Like,
Yeah.
it just never was. Those were never on my radar. I never liked them. I never was a horror movie person, and that's why I say, like, I know most horror movies are, they're going to have your scenes that they shouldn't have, and they're going to have some language. But a lot of you and I can both, speak to this. Some of those movies we watched when they were on TV.
Yeah.
Cut the bad scenes.
Yeah.
So when we go, oh man, we love this movie, generally we're saying we love the TV version of that movie. And then when we go to watch it with our kids now, we're like, oh, that was not the version I remember.
Yeah, there was a lot of TV movies that cut out a lot of things. And, so yeah, certainly any movie you hear on here, unless we specifically say, hey,
this one's
go
okay.
watch this movie, is subject to it being on TV or our memories just being poor.
Yeah.
But yes,
get Vid Angel and watch it, maybe.
Yeah, not a scary movie person. Even more so as a dad and post leukemia. Like, I just can't handle a lot of heavy stuff, and I kind of cut that out of my life. And I don't know that there was ever a time where I would say, "Yeah, let's go watch the scary movie."
No.
I remember a funny story. I went with Turner McLemore. He was the lead guitarist in my band, and when I was in Albertville, and we went to watch School of Rock with Jack Black. And we got there, and a bunch of his high school buddies were there, and they went and saw like the realistic Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And he just begged me to go with his friends. And I was like, I guess so, man. I mean, like, gory, gross, nasty. I mean, opening scene, like, oh, why did we do this? And we went back to my house afterwards, and it was what it was. I wasn't terrified myself, but Turner was pretty shook. I wish that I had a chainsaw, because I could have had a lot of fun that night. But anyways, not my genre. It is Halloween is approaching. Whatever you feel about that, we're not getting the weeds on that. But I thought that was a fun question. But, I appreciate the opportunity to get together, and always a blessing, always encouraging. Hopefully, if you're out there, and of course we're still in National Suicide Prevention Month, and so if there's any way we can help you, if you're in that mindset, it's 988, right, Ben?
988.
So we want to make sure we put that information out there. But if there's anything else we can do for you, reach out at hello@benandtravis.com. Mentioned on social media today that next month we'll be at Faulkner's lectureship. Looking forward to hanging out with you then, Ben.
Yes, sir. Me too. Have a good one.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.